Hello, everyone. I wanted to talk about Kundalini and that awakening that can happen within each and every one of us. What that looks like for me, what that feels like, how I'm dealing with it. So I had my first Kundalini awakening when I was 24, and it was intense. I was seeing someone at the time who knew about it, so he was able to tell me what it was, because otherwise probably would have thought that I was going mad. It was a really intense experience of activation, of just this opening of all of my energy centers, this blasting open. And I sat with my guides in a circle for 10 days drawing, basically, in my flat. When I went outside, I could hear people's thoughts and feel what they were feeling. And it was very, very intense and very scary as well, because, in this world, we're taught that if anything out of the ordinary happens, then you're going mad. So it's like, well, just going mad. So there was that fear of, am I going mad, in my head, running throughout the whole thing. But I knew I wasn't. Like, I had this knowing on a deeper level that this was an activation, an opening, stepping into a new phase, a deepening of my journey. So I went with it, and it was incredible. It really was an amazing experience, an amazing thing to allow to happen and not to block. And I think this is where a lot of people have mental health issues, because they block it because of fear, because they don't know what's going on, because society, all of these things, or because they actually go to hospital. So if we can have support, if we can have people around us, those elders, that's what we need, is the elders who can guide us, who can say, it's okay, this is what you need to do, this is how we can stay grounded. Being grounded is so important in this whole process. So that was the first experience. And then the second experience happened a few months ago. So it's been brewing. It's been waking up. My Kundalini's been activating. I've been feeling this huge awakening within my being, this transition. And I've described it like this big red dragon inside me. And this dragon wants to open her wings and really just let rip. Not in a bad way, but just open up into that expansiveness. And that's kind of been growing for the last year, really, this desire to step out, to break out of the limitations of my life, the limitations of my mind, mainly. Our minds put these limitations on us beyond anything else, really. So it's this desire to step into this. And then in January, mid-January, I had some news which really shocked me. Like, rocked my world, to be honest. Like, really rocked me to the core of my being. All my thoughts about what I thought I knew, everything just shook. And what happened in that shaking was an activation to a new level. This real rising up of this power, this energy, this life force. But in that process, what happens is all of the things that are no longer serving you, all of the things, the mindsets, the beliefs, the programmings, the patterns, the stuff that isn't necessarily yours, all of that stuff comes to the forefront to be addressed and to be let go of or revised. So that's the process I'm in at the moment, is looking at everything, looking at my thoughts, my beliefs, all of these things. And the biggest one that has come from this is my belief in myself, or lack of. I do believe in myself in many ways, and but this not good enough. And what's very interesting is I'm working with someone, and I connected into where this comes from. It comes from when my mum was sick, and when I was in America with her, just me and her. We had nurses that would come, but there was quite a lot of responsibility on me for a year as her carer, basically. And this not good enough comes from that. On one level, anyway. You know, who knows where it comes from. So one of the things I'm doing is I'm writing this list every day of things I'm good at. In this country, we're not taught to praise ourselves, are we? We're not really taught to big ourselves up and to stand in that power, because it could be big-headed. And this is something that I have struggled with a lot, not wanting to seem big-headed or arrogant or bitchy if I say I'm good at something. So I'm working, you know, it's layers of these onions, constantly layers that are peeling back. What's the next layer? What's the next layer? What's the next layer? So I've done a lot of this work myself and with other people, helping support them on this journey. But now it's a deepening level. It's getting into the core wounds. Because, you know, this is ultimately what it's about. It's getting into the core of where these wounds come from and healing and letting go. Saying Ho'oponopono, you know, shifting out of this wound, shifting out of the victim mode, stepping up and stepping into our light and into our power. And we have to do this now. You know, I think, obviously I'm a woman, so I can only relate to this from my perspective. And I've always felt that women haven't been allowed to big themselves up. Men more so than women in lots of different areas. So I want you to think, and I want you to right now, or when we finish this video, tell yourself what you're good at. Not what you're bad at, but what you're good at. What are you good at? Anyway, I have a little one calling, so lots of love to you all. See you soon.